Alright, trying really hard to condense this down into like less than 5 minutes. Let's go. Pause buffering in V. You can do it by pressing and releasing Alt, but TLDR, this method's really shit, and you basically can't advance frame by frame. You can see I'm going at like at least 5 frames at a time here, which is awful. The good method is Alt and Spacebar. For the record, I'm in full screen and I am using left Alt because I don't have any others bound to my keyboard. You do Alt Spacebar, that brings this up. All that's required is that you press Spacebar after pressing and releasing Alt, or you press Alt and hold it and then press Spacebar. Both of them effectively do the same thing. You can see I paused it with Alt and then press Spacebar. It opens just the same. If I click back into the game, because it kind of loses focus when you do this, then it pauses. Unpauses. Right? If I jump, then it unpauses. So I could be holding left here, Alt space to pause the game, and then press jump. It does it on that frame, or maybe the frame after, I'm not sure. And the best part, and the most useful part, is that you can press Alt and space, like a little plink motion, very in quick succession, and you go frame by frame like this. Sometimes you might hear me press it, and it doesn't even go 1 frame. That's because the interval between the 2 key presses isn't long enough. But the important part is that I'm basically never accidentally going 2 frames or more in one jump, which is awesome because it means we could, with practice, consistently hit frame perfect windows. Right? So if I want to go 1 more frame, like 1 more frame of movement to the left here, there we go, and then I just press jump, because this is the frame I want to jump on. Pretty cool. Didn't think this was possible in V. So yeah, there are some limitations. First of all, you don't want to press Alt, Spacebar, and then C, because that'll end your run immediately. Or M, or N, really. Those will both cost you time. My left movement button is bound to N. It's just because my keyboard layout's a bit different to normal. So yeah, I can't press that. And there's a weird peculiarity with this where some keys will input to the game and unpause it in this menu, and some won't do anything. For example, my R key is bound to flutter, right? And that works, as you can see. And my S key is bound to jump, and that works. But if I try and attack, which is T, it doesn't do anything. And if I try and move right, which is I, also doesn't do anything. But if I open the menu, which is Enter, so long as I'm not selecting one of these other options that aren't grayed out, if I have it over Restore, I press Enter, it opens the menu, right, and unpauses. So that's pretty interesting. So the keys that don't work for me so far are R and S do work, but T, N, U, E, and I do not import with this menu open. What you can do is press Escape to close the menu, and then I can press right or left. Left, for example, is the thing that was minimizing me before, and I can now press that without unpausing the game, right? Because you can toggle this menu. That's pretty cool. So, yeah. Look at me just doing... Well, okay, that was probably 2 frames at once. It's a bit hard to tell at this velocity, but look at me doing a frame-perfect flutter. And then potentially chaining other inputs into a sequence with frame buffering between them. That's pretty dope. Don't know how the community feels about this, but I would be stoked to actually use this in runs. As long as it leads to like cool skips or cool strats that we couldn't do otherwise. That is pretty sick. First application comes to mind because then the jetty skip guy would be jetty skip. But I think the time save from that is not enough to warrant this because it's probably taking too long to execute anyway. You'd have to be pretty fast at it to make it worth. Something like underplat right before the Miyugi elevator, you know, where you go under that platform for swag points. Yeah, you could do that consistently. That'd be pretty dope. It would probably lose you time though. The best use case I can see right now is for those who aren't very consistent with Miyugi 2 skip. You can do that completely consistently now with a bit of practice. Because, I mean, should throw the fireballs up, right? They go in an arc. When they start coming down, you just press Alt spacebar like this. They're coming down, following my mouse. And then when they hit the perfect point to do the skip, you just attack. Or you press escape and then attack if your keybinds don't allow you to do it with the menu open. So yeah, could do a lot of cool things with this. I'm sure that there are some possibilities that I haven't thought of. But yeah. The drawback is that, I mean, it's a bit like you'd be kidding yourself if you didn't call this like cheaty. It is a bit cheaty. So whether it's going to be allowed or not, I don't know. And also it might require auto hotkey rebinds to be effective, because you'd probably want to rebind Alt and spacebar to be more comfortable, and so that you could press them while you're pressing other things. You might also want to rebind troublesome keys, like for me, my left one, which is N for minimize, or any of the other keys that didn't work with the menu open, because closing the menu every time you want to do this would suck. And also, because I'm not sure if I spoke about it when recording this, the way you actually do the frame advance is, for example, holding left, press Alt and space, like sequentially, and then you can either make an input here to do it on that frame, or you can just press Alt and then space sequentially very quickly to move on to the next frame until you get to a frame where you want to do the input. Right? And if you just wanted to exit without really changing anything, even without releasing any of your currently held buttons, you could just press escape to close that and then press escape or Alt again. So yeah, that's about it.